What's up, everybody? Brothers, sisters, psychonauts, and seekers of truth. It is Ananka, and welcome to my bazaar. Today, I have a Bromo-Dragonfly / Ketamine chirp report for you. The title of this chirp report is Unique and Glowing, and was submitted to Earwid in 2010 by the user Naura. With all that being said, let our story begin. Usual disclaimer. This was by no means safe. I tried to take risks manageably, but I don't recommend this kind of stuff. TLDR. Really fun, also long-lasting as hell. Very visual. Not much body load or mindfuck at the 1 milligram level. I have been told that constriction is an issue at around 5 milligrams, but the most I would ever do of this is 2 milligrams personally. Social, oral, cognitive. Not really that dissociative. Be safe. This is unknown territory. I happen to be in possession of 1 milligram of Bromo-Dragonfly. This was from the same batch that was mislabeled as 2CB fly and resulted in several deaths. It was later found to also contain significant synthesis impurities. Luckily, I received it as Bromo-Dragonfly and in a dosage appropriate for this. 1 milligram was reported to be a moderate dose, and I was not expecting a super strong trip. I actually had some worries that it wouldn't be enough, but it was. This is a recount of the trip, which lasted a solid 2 days, plus residual visuals for a few more. 4:30 p.m., Tuesday. T+0. I take a cap of Bromo-Dragonfly on an empty stomach. I sit down to do some work programming, as I figure this will take a rather long time to kick in. I smoke a bowl out of my vape. This happened throughout the night. 1 hour in. I feel slight effects and notice slight visuals. Patterns of light and shadow that aren't really there. I am surprised, as I thought it would take longer to come on. I am still clear-headed and can function well, but I decide to abandon work for the rest of the trip. At 1.5 hours, I intramuscularly inject 50 milligrams of ketamine, as I love doing this on the come-up of psychedelics, especially ones like DO and Bromo-Dragonfly. I had a really high tolerance at the time, so 50 milligrams didn't really fuck me up uncontrollably, but just added spice to what was already a rather fun experience. At 2 hours, I go outside for a cigarette and marvel at the visuals. Bromo-Dragonfly has visuals unlike anything I have ever done. LSD, mushrooms, mescaline, 2CBEIPT-2, DOB and C, 4-ACO-DMT, DMT, MIPT, LSA, and ketamine. It looks like a high dose of mescaline, with 4 hits of good acid thrown in. The headspace is wonderfully clear. No panic or tension or anxiety, any of it. There is some body tremor, but it is not overwhelming at this level. 2.5 hours in, I've just been listening to good music, and it sounds wonderful, enveloping, rich, and compelling. This reminds me of mescaline, and to a lesser extent, 2C and DO chemicals, which makes sense given the chemical similarity. At 3 hours, I inject another 50 milligrams of ketamine, and the intensity of my trip, which was already increasing, spikes. I collect my essentials, lock the apartment, and get on my bike. I'm going to a show my friend is playing at a house about a mile away. I listen to music while I ride. Jesu, Heartache EP. And it is one of the most intense and beautiful rides of my life. The visuals at this point are insane, and I feel wonderful. Though I know it is dangerous to ride while fucked up, I feel able to control my bike safely and without any mental discomfort, despite the wonderful visuals and psychedelia. All colors are intensified, and lights glow much more brightly than normal. Edges are accentuated, and I feel like I'm on 10 hits of acid visually, but with the presence of mind of most phenethylamines. After 10 minutes, I run into my friend biking to the same show that I am, and we bike together. We lock our bikes and get to the house, only to find that the show hasn't begun, and that our friends, the band and others, are just hanging out, jamming and talking and drinking. I had originally planned not to drink, since Bromo-Dragonfly is enough for one night. But someone handed me a beer, and from then on, I was drinking pretty heavily. 5 hours in. I've been here for a while, socializing and catching up with a lot of people who are in town. It's SXSW week and spring break. I have had lots of good conversations, and I feel totally comfortable. Although some of my perceptions are obviously off, not recognizing people at first, and so on. The visuals are at their peak, I think, and have been for an hour or so. Color intensification and form outlines are the most distinct aspect. 7 hours in, still drinking and smoking pot, and partying with friends at the house show. Bromo-Dragonfly is a social drug, at least at this level. I feel positive and motivated to talk to people. Body tremor, or what there was of it, seems to have subsided. After 8.5 hours, we go back to my friend's apartment to drink more, listen to music, smoke pot, and generally hang out. On the way, I fall off my bike, which I attribute to being drunker than I thought. While Bromo-Dragonfly definitely overpowers alcohol subjectively, my coordination was shit, as my body was still drunk. We chill for several hours, and I have a great time. The visuals are still going strong. I hang out here until about 3 o'clock. At 10:30, a friend from out of town and I walk back to my place, a couple blocks away. He needs a place to crash and is very drunk. I am as well, but no sleep is impossible. We come home and hang out, smoking pot and talking about music. He eventually realizes I'm going to be awake and active all night, and leaves to sleep at my friend's place. At 11 hours in, I inject 50 milligrams more of ketamine. I do this every hour and a half for a few hours, enjoying the trip and smoking cigarettes and listening to music. I don't mind being alone at all, and am enjoying the fact that my apartment is very clean. I cleaned it 2 days prior. 16 hours in, I decide to stop using ketamine, because I'm binging like an addict, and being on Bromo-Dragonfly isn't an excuse. I lay on my beanbag, wide awake and tripping hard, but in a relaxed fashion, listening to music. My friend calls and she says she'll be over later. 18 hours. It is now 10 a.m. on Wednesday, and my friend comes over for a bit. We smoke a couple of bowls and talk, and I am glad for the company. While tripping alone is fun, conversation is more engaging, and I enjoy it. We smoke cigarettes outside, and the sunlight illuminates the world so brightly that I am blinded by the beauty. The visuals are still going as strong as they were 12 hours ago, and it's already a beautiful sunny day. I feel really positive due to the combination. At 20 hours, I go over to my friend's place, where I was last night, as we had planned today to be a day of relaxation, tripping, and friendship. He and a couple of my other friends take 2 CE, 25 milligrams oral, 12 and 12 milligrams snorted. I think that my Bromo-Dragonfly will wear off soon, so I take 2 hits of good acid, just to make sure I'm tripping all day. In retrospect, this was probably a complete waste. The Bromo-Dragonfly didn't change noticeably in character or strength. It was still just strong and unique, but didn't really feel like acid. Anyway, we hang out, listening to music. Mostly death metal, as we all love it, and smoking pot. I brought over the very last of my powdered ketamine and shared it freely, since it goes well with everything, and today has been decreed a day of self-indulgence. At 22 hours, we decide to rent a couple of movies, so we get Moon and Paprika. We decide to watch Moon, as it had been strongly recommended. We watch it and are absolutely blown away, considering it one of the best movies we have ever seen. It mirrored the surreality that I was experiencing, and did so in an aesthetically pleasing fashion. This seems suited to Bromo-Dragonfly, which is a very aesthetic chemical, based on this experience. An entire 24 hours later, we're still hanging out, occasionally snorting some K, even though this barely does anything to me, given my tolerance. Talking, and just generally having a good trip. We rewatch Moon to understand it and catch layers we missed the first time. Despite the fact there are many free shows going on, and that I could easily bike to them, I choose to take it easy. Bromo-Dragonfly seems like a chemical that is malleable. You can take it easy or do something intense, and it'll pretty much let you without getting in the way. 28 hours in, I go home briefly to meet a friend, smoke some pot, and listen to music. I decide to take a clonazepam 2 milligram tablet, just to sort of lighten the experience, as it showed no sign of ending, and I wanted to sleep. I go back to my friends with another couple of clonazepam, one for him and the other for me. I am now 30 hours in. We go back to the house where my friend played, as there is music there. We stay a while, chat and socialize, and then leave to listen to our friend's radio show. Despite the fact that I have been tripping for what feels like forever, I find socializing easy and fun. 33 hours. We go back, listen to music, and I get drunk / benzoed, tired enough to pass the fuck out. My friend walks me home, as he wants something from my place, and I am quite out of it, and I go to sleep. 48 hours. My girlfriend, who I live with and who was out of town the entire time I was on Bromo-Dragonfly, wakes me up at 4:30 p.m. I feel tired, fried, exhausted as shit, but alright. I smoke a lot of pot and go outside, and find myself with visuals as strong as the mid to late parts of the trip. 48 hours to 72 hours. This whole day and a bit felt off baseline. I smoked pot and drank a lot, and did a lot, too much ketamine. I had visuals. I guess this isn't surprising, since I did go on a bit of a bender, but luckily didn't fuck myself or anything else up. I know pot brings back visuals, but I feel like the Bromo-Dragonfly was still in my system a fair bit. 4 or 5 days. These visuals definitely persisted for days. Though, to be fair, I was stoned constantly. Alright, everyone. That is the end of our story. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Share with us your Bromo-Dragonfly experiences down in the comments below. Check out the other videos and playlists on my channel. And I will see you in the next one, fam. Deuces.